If you're anything like me, you like to do things on your own, you're very impatient, and you're extremely cheap. That's why I'm gonna show you how to make your own acoustic panels without spending a bunch of money. This is the material I'm using today. This is big tapestry, the Star Wars thing. And I'm gonna use that to measure, and we're gonna go ahead and cut. So let's go for it. I'm using 1x4s for this project. I'm gonna cut 2 of them 47 inches and 2 at 54 inches. That'll give me enough room that I can wrap the material around there and then staple it once it's complete. So let's go ahead, measure twice, cut once. Where is it? Cut twice, measure once. I don't know, I'm not good with numbers. And that's what happens when you don't have enough table space. Eventually, I'm planning on making my workshop actually inside with a dust collector, but right now, since I don't have a dust collector, I'm kind of at the mercy of bringing my tools out into the driveway and just kind of working with what I've got. So that's why these projects are actually really good, because I want everybody to just work with what you have. So I've got my compound miter saw, got everything set at 0, and got my pilot line, but I always like to check first, make sure that lines up. So here we go. Okay, there we go, good line. All right, there's board number 1. Set that here. That's number 2. Number 3, and number 4. Now I want to measure, because the ends of these, I probably could have reused them, but you know, I'll have plenty of other projects that I can use them on. All right, so now I'm just going to double check that my cuts are accurate and that it's not the end pieces that I actually needed. And even still, you want to double check and make sure your cuts are accurate anyways. So there's 54, there's 47, there's a 47, and a 54. Awesome. The next thing you're going to want to do after you've cut your pieces and remeasured and made sure that they are the right size is you're going to want to do a quick sanding over them. Just make sure there's no high spots, because really, if you can feel it, you're going to be able to see it once you paint it. So that's a good idea for a lot of reasons. One, of course, it's going to help that surface. It's going to make the paint bind to the wood a lot easier, but also it kind of knocks off some of those burrs from when you were cutting and anything that was left over from the mill, because a lot of these pieces are pretty cheap and they don't do a great job of planing them. So it's a good idea to do that. Even if you're going to do a full wrap with your material, I still like to do that, because you don't want to leave high spots. It's a good way to rip the material. Now it's time for everybody's favorite part, painting. I'm going to be using this Krylon spray paint today, and I'm doing that because it's a high gloss. Most times I'm probably going to use like a roller on this sort of thing. I prefer using that with latex paint over spray cans, but it's what I'm working with because I do want that higher gloss finish, and when you do that with latex paint, it's hard to get that. Plus, it's easier, less cleanup, you know, one of those sort of things. Let's paint the face side of these. I like to leave the face side last, because really you should let the paint cure before you flip them and lay them down on a surface. Or else you can kind of do like what I did on the first coat, where I had them leaning up, but it's hard to get those good angles and then you get drip lines. But since this is going to be the part that you're going to see if I wrap on the inside, I haven't even actually decided what I'm going to do yet. Just depends on how the frame turns out. But if you do wrap the material on the inside, I would want these to be better quality painted. So I'm going to have these sitting flat. And now that I have all the pieces cut and they're dried, oh, here we go. Now that I have all the pieces cut and dried, I'm gonna go ahead and nail them. I'm gonna use an air nailer. You can use just a regular hammer and nails or a screwdriver and some screws, but this is how I prefer to do it because it's fast, it's nice and clean as well. Now it's time for everybody's favorite part. That's getting the fabric on there. So again, I'm using this Star Wars tapestry, flag, whatever. I really like the material. I like the way it looks. And it breathes enough that it lets the sound go in and also doesn't restrict it too awful much. So one of the most important things is kind of pin down these corners. Once you do that, then you can start to adjust each side. And you might have some excess because this stuff does stretch. And pretty much any material is going to stretch a little bit. But once you get it all stapled in, you can start to go back around and adjust and pull out some staples on other sides you've already done if you need to, or different things like that, to make sure that it looks good and it's nice and even all the way around. Now that I've got this last edge, I can pull this really tight. This last part is one of my least favorite parts. This actually putting the insulation in here gets kind of messy, but I'm gonna be using Roxol, which is the best for sound dampening and for absorption. So I'm gonna start grabbing that and then cutting it. And I'm definitely gonna wear gloves when I do this because it's got some of that fiberglass feeling in there, so make your hand all itchy. So flip this over, and I'll go get the fiberglass. So I've got my Roxol here, and the way I measured this, I shouldn't have to cut too much, but we'll see how it pans out. Yeah, cut it just right so that these strips fit right in there. Oh, it's looking a little funky. There we go. Get those nice and tight in there. And yeah, again, wear gloves if you can, because this is fiberglass, so it'll make it itchy. I might have to cut this last piece in here. Yeah, I will. I think I can. We'll see if we can make them fit. If we can just squeeze them all in there, which would be really nice. If it's too much, then I'll cut it. Yeah, I think that might work. Definitely gonna need to take a shower after doing this. This is not the cleanest of projects, but saves yourself so much money. And then you can have custom, uh-oh, I knocked off C-3PO.
Will be destroyed for sure. This is madness.
Save yourself so much money. And then you can have these really great custom panels that look awesome, incredibly functional. Man, that's great. I didn't even have to cut those, so that's really nice. If you want, you can put another piece of fabric or some kind of lining on the back, depending on where you got these, so that it doesn't have any material that goes out. But I probably just leave these bare. And that's it. It's not that hard of a project. It is a little time consuming, but it's not that big of a deal. And also you can do a lot of things to make this your own. You can use different material, or you can make the size of the panels different to fit your room and your needs even more. I've said this before and I can't say it enough. I want everybody out there to just try doing some of their own projects. The easy way out is to spend the money and buy something, and that's usually a good route because you know that the company you're buying it from probably has a lot of experience and they have good quality, but there's a lot of ownership and a lot of great things that go along with making things yourself. Not only are you getting a product that's going to help you for a lot less money, but you're learning a skill that you can then use to help you out in the future. A great example of that is that I have 10 panels in my studio right now and I've built all of them. If I were to go out and buy the panels at the sizes that I have in my studio, I would have spent probably around $3,000 to $4,000 alone just on these. And my total cost that I've spent is well under $500. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and for all your support. If you have questions or comments, make sure you leave them in the comment section below, and we'll see you next time. Take care.